Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to another class of ISRAELITES. This class today is going to be called Putting Off Day to Day. Putting Off Day to Day. All right. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 5. And start at verse 1.
Set thy heart upon thy goods, and say not, I have enough for my life.
Read.
Follow not thine own mind and thy strength, to walk in the ways of thy heart. And say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride.
Stop right there. So now, when in the beginning, where it says, set not thy heart upon thy goods, meaning don't look at all the good things that you've been blessed with, thinking that, the Most High working with me, or he blessing me. Sorry about that. And then the next part when it says, and say not, I have enough for my life, right? So meaning that you think that you may have it all, but you don't. Because what having it all is having salvation. That's having it all. Salvation is having it all. Not because of the substance that you tend to gain throughout this time that you're in captivity. And the next part when it says, follow not thy own mind and thy strength, meaning that you following your own mind thinking because, the Lord bless me with this house, the Lord bless me with this car, the Lord bless me with this job, the Lord bless me with this money. All of that's supposed to mean that you really got it going on. And then when it says to walk in the ways of thy heart, meaning that because it feels right to you, you think you're doing the right thing. Then the next part when it says, and say not, who shall control me for my works? Meaning that you don't believe in the Most High. And if you do believe in him and you being able to do the things that the law say you can't do, but because the Most High haven't judged you yet, it's like you saying, it ain't nobody to judge me. It ain't nobody that's going to control me to do what, or do this or do that. I'm going to do it anyway, and nothing's going to happen to me. See, watch me do this and nothing's happening. Right? That's what the scripture is saying when it says, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride. Now that part right there, meaning that because you believe that's what it is, the Most High is surely going to deal with you. He's surely going to punish you for your prideful thoughts, thinking, what's going to happen to me? What are you going to do to me? So go ahead and read verse 4.
The book of Sirach, verse 4. 5 verse 4. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me?
So that's what we just spoke about when it says, say not, I have sinned, and what harm have happened to me? Because you know that you probably, in the midst of sin, you did something or whatever the case may be, and because nothing happened, you thinking, it's A-okay. You know, you wearing them pants. You could be cooking on the Sabbath. You could be, working on the Sabbath when you don't have to work. You get any of those things that you may be doing that you don't have to do, but you do it anyway, and then you feel that because nothing happened, that means that it ain't no Most High. So read verse 4 again.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 4. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me? For the Lord is long-suffering.
So when it said the Lord is long-suffering, that means that he'll wait a long time. He'll wait a long time before he deal with you. But when he do, it ain't going to be nothing pretty. Read.
He will in no wise let thee go.
That's a promise. That's a promise. When he said he will in no wise let thee go, that is a promise that he is going to kill your behind. Period. Read.
Verse 5. Concerning propitiation. Be not without fear to add sin unto sin.
Right. So when you when you feel that the Most High is not going to do anything to you or haven't done anything to you, you seem to think that because this didn't happen, oh, I could go ahead and do this too. So now you adding sin onto sin. That's what the scripture is saying. Because you're emboldened now, because the Most High haven't punished you, you're emboldened that you can just do what you do what you want to do. Read.
And verse 6. And say not, his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resetteth upon sinners.
No, it resteth upon sinners, right? So his indignation, meaning his hatred, his payback that was coming, it rested among sinners. Read.
Verse 7. Make no tarry to turn to the Lord.
Stop right there. So in verse 6, when it says, and say not, his mercy is great, meaning that those people that's running around out here saying, I'm not under the law, I'm under grace. Those are the people, or those are the people that the Most High is talking about. Those people saying that they ain't got to keep the law. They're under the grace of the Lord, his mercy, this and that. And you doing all the wickedness in the world. And some of us that's in the truth may think that that may be the case, because you might be out there saying to yourself, well, man, I'm keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and I'm still, in the midst of a struggle. But here it is, the people that don't keep the commandments, they getting all of it. But we're going to touch on that. But this is what it's referring to. When it says, say not his mercy is great, those people that are saying that I'm under grace, I'm under grace, I'm not under the law, and he will pacify for the multitudes of my sin. Meaning that the Lord, you believe in your mind that the Lord is going to give you a pass for all the sin that you're doing. No, sir. You're going to find out today through the scripts that ain't the case. So in verse 7, when he said, make no tarry to turn unto the Lord, meaning you better hurry up and make haste to turn unto the Lord. Finish reading that. And
put not off from day to day.
Don't put off from day to day that, oh, all right, tomorrow I'm going to start keeping God's law. Tomorrow I'm going to get right. Like you got some sisters out here and brothers that they reckless with their mouth. You understand? They reckless with their mouth, and then they'll say that, oh, the Lord working on me, I'm getting it right or whatever. And you've been saying that for over a year, 2 years, and you still saying the same thing. You don't fear the Lord. You don't fear him. Because if you did, you'd have got yourself right from the word go. So right here when it says, don't put off day to day, meaning stop sinning right now and keep the commandments. Read.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth.
So when it says, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. So you thinking because the Most High ain't judged you yet, and you putting it off day to day, that, oh, I got time to repent. I got time to get myself right. And the scriptures is letting you know right now, you ain't got no time, because it says for suddenly. That means that without a shadow of a doubt, it's going to happen when you least expect it. You're not even expecting it at all. You could be doing something simple, like turning on the water and agree to go take a shower when the Most High, that sky crack. Ain't nothing you could do. So read that whole thing all the way through. Verse 7.
Verse 7 of Sirach. Chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. And in thy security.
In the security, meaning that because ain't nothing happened to you before, what's in your mindset, because nothing happened to you before, and that's your being in your security. What happens?
Thou shalt be destroyed.
Thou shalt be destroyed. These are instructions letting you know how this thing gonna go down. See, this is the original cheat sheet. The Most High gave you the complete works to let you know what he's gonna do if you don't do A, B, or C. And all you got to do is follow what the scriptures say and do it and stay in line with that, and you'll be fine. But you got people out there that just say, one, it ain't no Most High. Two, well, I got time. I got time to do this and do that, or make do what I got to do, and I can make it happen. I got time. But he said that in your security, you thinking that way, he shall destroy you and perish in the day of his vengeance. You're going to be put to death. That's what perish in the day of his vengeance means. So with that, let's go stay in Sirach 5. And matter of fact, come off of that. Go to Isaiah chapter 29. Go to the book of Isaiah chapter 29 and read verse 12.
The book of Isaiah chapter 29 verse 12. And the book is delivered to him.
Who the book is delivered to?
To him.
That's all of us. Read.
That is not learned.
That is not learned. That don't understand. I'm trying to teach you what the scriptures say. We read it right off the pages, and it's plain and simple for you to understand. Ain't no song and dance. Ain't no shucking and jiving. Ain't no bunch of crazy talk saying what it is. This is what it is. Read.
Saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. Verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by precept of men. Verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people.
Start right there. I want you to go back to verse 13. Go back to verse 13 and read that again.
Isaiah 29, chapter 13.
No, verse 13.
Verse 13, sorry about that. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth.
So that's your people that's in the churches today, that's running around out here saying, oh, I love the Lord. Oh, glory, I love the Lord. This and that, putting their hands up in the air, whatever the case may be, talking about they love the Lord. Everything they say that they doing for the Lord, but don't do one commandment that the Most High gave. Not one commandment, but they say they love the Lord. They say that he all in their life. And then the part then when they come up and say, oh, God is good. And then you got the people talking, replying back all the time. No, the Most High ain't good all the time. The Most High will tear your behind out of the frame. See, what you think is good. He's good in the sense that he's perfect. But he ain't good how you think he's good. Matter of fact, hold what you got. And let me get that. Let me get that real quick. I'm having slow internet, everything going on right now. Anyway, in verse 13, where it says, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people is the Israelites, draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, and with it, but have removed their hearts far from me, and they fear towards me is taught by the precept of men. So what that means is man teach you to fear the Lord. You don't fear him on your own reconnaissance because you don't know what the fear of the Lord is. Okay? So you fear him because man say that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fear the Lord. Okay? No, you fear the Lord because of the judgments that the Most High can bring upon you. Because of what the Most High can bring upon you, these judgments. What that means is this. When we out and about and you watch like a town or whatever the case may be, and a tornado or a hurricane or something like that come through and destroy it, right? And you see these hurricanes or tornado come through and it's only been there for like 3-4 seconds. Not even a whole minute. Maybe 40 seconds on the ground. Okay? And it completely destroys neighborhoods, towns, the whole nine. Just completely destroyed. That is called judgment right there. Why would you want to play with that kind of power? What would make you think that you can even stand up to that type of power? But then you want to play the game and say that you want to honor the Lord with your lips and say, oh, Lord, I love you, this and that, blah, 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 but you don't do nothing the Lord say. But let's see what the Lord say the loving him is. Go to 1 John chapter 5. Go to 1 John chapter 5. I want you to read verse 3. Read verse 2 and 3.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 2 and 3. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments, for this is the love of God. So
right here where he said, for this is the love of God, read.
That we keep his commandments.
That we do what?
Keep his commandments.
So to show God that you love him, you have to do what?
Keep his commandments.
That's it. Plain and simple. There ain't no mystery to that. There's no mystery to that. With that, go to John chapter 14.
1 John.
No, regular John chapter 14. I want you to read verse 15. Matter of fact, read verse 14 and 15.
The book of John, chapter 14, verse 14 and 15. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it.
So the Lord said, if you ask anything in my name, I will do it. But there's stipulations, read.
Verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments.
So is that the same thing we just heard in 1 John chapter 5? Christ never changed what he's saying. If you love him, keep the commandments. He said that he would do anything that you ask in his name, but you have to keep the commandments. It ain't you can do whatever the hell you want to do and sin all you want and ask in his name and you're going to still get it. What sense does that make to the people that's actually keeping the laws? What sense does that make to the Most High? What sense does that make to Christ? It makes no sense. Don't think that you can just keep on doing evil and you're going to be okay. So now we just read when the prophet Isaiah said that we are far, our hearts are far from the Most High. When the Most High said your heart, he ain't talking about the heart that's pumping blood in your chest. He's talking about your mind. Now let's go to Mark. Go to the book of Mark. Go to the book of Mark. Let's prove what we say. That way, don't be no confusion. Nobody, you got those, you got those people in Christianity, when they start hearing this truth come out on the page, but they don't want to do nothing the Lord say, they're gonna come out and say, "Oh, it's your interpretation." That's what they like to do. They like to say it's your interpretation. Nah, it ain't your interpretation. It is what it is. This is what the scriptures say. What it is you want to enjoy your life in sin, so therefore you're going to come out and say it's your interpretation. So go to Mark. Go to Mark 7, and I want you to start at verse 20. Start at verse 20 and read. Mark 7, verse 20.
The book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 20. And he said, that which cometh out of the man that defileth the man.
So what he's saying, what come out of you is what defiles you. Okay, what that means, if sin come out of you, that's what's going to defile you. Listen what he say, verse 21.
Verse 21. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts.
So, does the heart that pump blood do thinking? No. Your brain do the thinking. Your mind do the thinking. So when it says from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts. That's where the evil thoughts come from. That's where your beginning of your sin start. Read.
Adulteries, fornications, murders.
So all these things start in your mind first before you actually do it. So that's why he said your heart is far removed from me. Okay? So with that, let's go back to Isaiah 29. Go back to Isaiah 29. Read verse 13 again.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as the people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
So now Christ talked about the same thing. He talked about the same thing. Well, you said, like the people say, oh, well, when Christ came, it was the beginning of the New Testament, the new covenant. No, it wasn't, because Christ taught the old covenant the whole time he was on the earth. His disciples taught the old covenant the whole time he was on the earth. And then after he was crucified on the cross, the disciples were still teaching the old covenant. Nothing changed. So let's go to Matthew chapter 15, and I want you to read verse 7. So the audience can know that Christ quoted directly from the Old Testament. Read.
Ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying.
So he's saying Isaiah prophesied about you, saying. Let's see what he say. Read.
This people, verse 8. This people draweth nigh unto me.
So he's saying these people draw nigh, which means near. Same thing Isaiah said in Isaiah 29. Read.
Unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
Great.
But in vain they do worship me.
But in vain, meaning that you, whatever you doing and you call yourself worshiping the Lord, you doing it in vain. All you people out there hooping and hollering and jumping and jiving, that's in these churches or whatever the case may be, and not keeping no commandments, you doing all that in vain. You talking about you love the Lord, you doing all that in vain. You doing every last bit of it in vain. Because right now he's letting you know, Christ letting you know, you're doing it in vain. Okay? So go ahead, read verse 9 again.
But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
The commandments of men. You know, the commandment of men is you under grace, not under the law. You don't got to keep the Sabbath day. You can eat pork. You can eat shrimp. You can eat whatever you want to eat. All those are commandments of men. You don't got to keep the high holy days. You can keep 4th of July. Christmas is Christmas is a holiday that celebrate the birth of Christ in December. All of these things. But yet we read in John chapter 10, Christ in the wintertime is keeping his keeping the feast of dedication. He didn't celebrate his birthday. And don't get it twisted, because the 3 wise men bought gifts onto the Messiah means that they was celebrating his birthday. No. They bought the gifts because the Christ had come. They knew that the prophecies were met. They bought the gifts because of that. There wasn't no birthday celebration. So that's a little bit off topic, but I just want to hit that. So with that, stay in the book of go back to the book of Isaiah, because we're gonna keep touching on this fact that you think that you got time to just do whatever you want to do, and then at the last minute you think you're gonna come back and say, "Oh Lord, help me," or Lord, please don't kill me." That ain't gonna happen. He is going to kill you. Let me explain something to you. When the Most High get to the point, you already seen what he did with us because of our disobedience and not doing what he said. It's how we end up in slavery. How we end up on the bottom of the world, on the bottom of everybody on the world and everybody else on top of us. That's how that happened. But because you don't believe that, because you want to be so stiff-necked, but nothing that you have out there that can say otherwise, and nothing that is out there that can tell you exactly what happened to us as a people, but the scriptures, ain't none of your other books out there can tell you that. But if you think for one moment that you're going to keep pushing the Most High and doing what you want to do, and think that no harm is going to come onto you, you're sadly mistaken. Because when you get to the point when the Most High really cuts you off, guess what? The only thing that's going to satisfy him is your death. Bottom line. There'd be no other sacrifice that you could give to the Most High other than your life. You got to die. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 1. I want you to start reading at verse 18.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 18. Come now.
Start right there. Start at verse 17.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 17. Learn to do well.
So the scriptures say, learn to do well. Read.
Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed.
So where it says seek judgment, meaning by do the right thing so that you don't be judged. That's what that is speaking of. And then it says, relieve the oppressed, meaning don't cause those that are being oppressed, or don't bring more oppression on the people. That's what it means. Read.
Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow.
So when it says judge the fatherless and plead for the widow, read.
Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord.
So when the Lord said, let me back this up. So when it says right here in judge the fatherless, meaning the children that their father been killed in combat, or their father died, or whatever natural causes, or whatever the case may be. Not somebody that's just out there being wicked as I don't know what, and their father just disappeared off the map, trying to fix the technical difficulties over here, but the live feed's still going. But anyway, it's not talking about those type of fathers, but what it's saying here when it says judge the fatherless and plead for the widow, meaning the widow, she lost her father, and the mother that has children is the same person, the widow and the fatherless, to judge for them, to make sure the kids do right, to help the kids. That's where y'all get that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. You know, these things ain't just come out of nowhere and we just decided that we want to use them as phrases. These are things that our people did throughout our lives. Israelites took care of one another. That's what we did. So go ahead, read verse 18.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 18. Come now, and let us reason together, saith the Lord.
So the Lord now is saying to the Israelites, or saying to us, to come and let us reason together. So he is coming to us, our puny behinds, to say, let's reason. Let's figure out a way to fix this with me. Read.
Though your sins be as scarlet.
Your sins be as scarlets, read.
They shall be as white as snow.
So what it's talking about when you think about scarlet, that's red. Okay? Red is like scarlet. And when it says your sins are like scarlet, like blood, your sins are to blood unto me. Just evil and wickedness. But read, when he said they shall be as white as snow, meaning that you be purified from all the sins that you've done. But read.
Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
So although it looked like it's sin, but because you've been cleansed like white as snow, the outward may look like it's how can I put it? Not looking sinful, but it's still you. It's still the old person. But you took that old person and you shot that old person in the head, and you converted your soul, and now you keeping the commandments of the Lord. So although the old person is still out there, but the old person is showing new things, the keeping of the commandments. So although it looks like red like crimson, but at the same time it shall be like wool, meaning wool is soft and pure. You know, that's why, you know, even when babies are born, and say the blanket that they give the baby is scratching the baby face, so they put the baby on wool, you know, on sheep's wool. And then that's soft and it doesn't scratch the baby face. Okay? So that's what the Lord is saying right here. Although they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. So you will be soft. You will not soft in spirit, but soft the fact that you keeping the commandments. Your outward appearance will show that because of what you're doing. Although you're still in the old shell, but the old shell is emitting light to the people. Read.
Verse 19. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land.
So I don't understand how that's so hard to understand, or how somebody can say that that's even out of context, or whatever the case may be. If the scriptures say, if ye be willing, see, that's choice. That's choice. He's giving you a choice. If he say, if you be willing, if you be willing to do what? To be obedient. You being obedient to keeping the commandments. If you be willing to do that, ye shall eat good of the land. Meaning that you're going to be blessed. But in order to be blessed from the goodness of the land, you got to be obedient. Read verse 20.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 20. But if ye refuse and rebel.
But if you what?
Refuse and rebel.
But if you refuse and rebel, meaning that you say you ain't doing none of that. You're not going to do none of that at all. Read.
Ye shall be devoured with the sword.
You shall be what?
Devoured with the sword.
With the sword. You will be killed with the sword. Read.
For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
No, the mouth of the preacher spoke it.
For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
No, the mouth of Obadiah spoke it.
For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
The Lord spoke this. These ain't my words. This is his words. And he letting you know how to stay alive. Matter of fact, let's get that. Go to the book of Deuteronomy. Hold what you got in Isaiah. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy 33. And I want you to read... Read verse 27.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 27.
Now this is Moses speaking unto the children of Israel. Watch what he said. Read.
The eternal God is our refuge.
No, Deuteronomy. My fault. That was my fault. 31 and 27.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 27. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day.
Right. So Moses saying he know our rebellion and our stiff neck because he was in the wilderness with us. He seen firsthand what we were doing, our disobedience. Even when the Lord helped us, all the miracles that the Lord made happen right before our eyes, we soon forget all of that and just continuously sin. But read that from the beginning at the top again, 27.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 27. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Lord. And how much more after my death?
That's right. And that's what happened. It increased. He said, you rebelled against the Most High while I was on the earth, showing you, just like we are doing today, just like they were doing when Christ was on the scene, just like they were doing when all the disciples was on the scene. They wasn't trying to hear. A lot of the people was listening, and a lot of people wasn't listening. In the same way we got it going on right now. These same things that are happening right now. But Moses is saying, you rebelled against the Most High when I was here alive. How much more you going to do it when I'm dead? He made it real simple. So now, when we go back to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 20, the Lord said, but if ye refuse and rebel. So let me bring you to an understanding of something. In verse 18, when the Lord said, come now and let us reason together, said the Lord. So this is a father talking to his children. He's showing you mercy, even right here. Because he's letting you know, I love you so much. Although y'all deserve death, I don't want to kill you. I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to show you, put people in place and people in places to teach you what to do so that you can come near unto me. I'm doing my best to try to reason with you, but you ain't trying to hear what I'm saying. So then he says in verse 18, come now, let us reason together. Right? Then the Lord said the Lord, though your sins be as scarlet. He's saying that although you raggedy as hell and got so much going on, calamity going on in your life with the sin that you're doing before my eyes, I'm still willing to be merciful and forgive you for that if you just keep my commandments. Then in verse 20, he tells you, but if ye refuse and rebel, meaning that you refuse to do what the Lord say and you rebel against him, ye shall be devoured by the sword. He's letting you know. So when it happens and it's going down and you that person, don't say why. Don't even ask the question why he did it. He did it because you rebelled and you know what you're doing. Stop playing with the Most High power. So with that, let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs. And I want you to go to chapter 1. All these classes that I've done so far have all been geared towards keeping the commandments. I haven't really been teaching the history so much as to certain things because the time is near. I know the time is near. I'm looking at all the things that's happening in the world that's prophesied, that's happening right before our eyes. So the best information I could give to you right now is the information to teach you how to repent and come back to the Most High before he put you to death. So go to Proverbs chapter 1. I want you to read verse start at verse 5. Proverbs chapter 1. Let's start at verse 22.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 22. How long, ye simple ones?
So he's saying, how long, you simple ones? Simple is the same word for stupid. How long, you simple ones, read.
Will ye love simplicity?
How long will you love simplicity? Meaning that you love the simple things in life. Simple things in life is not standing at the waterfront and watching the tide go in and out. That's not the simple things. What it means by when he says, how long will you love simplicity? Meaning, how long will you not get it? That this is the only way that you're going to be able to come live with me. Read.
And the scorners delight in their scorning.
So those are the people that's out here telling you to do opposite of what the Lord said. If somebody telling you to do the opposite of what the Lord said, how in the world are they for the Lord? They don't speak for him. They speaking because they want you to be in the same predicament they in. Read.
And the fools hate knowledge.
And the fools hate knowledge. Those are the ones that running around here. They want to talk about the scriptures. Say there's a man, whatever, Edomite man made it, or whatever the case may be. Or I don't want to mess with no God that I can't see or touch or whatever. But yeah, you believe in the sun god Seti and Ra and all that other nonsense. All that dumbness. All this Egyptian spiritual crap. Or whatever you dealing with. You can't see the wind, but you can feel it hitting your face. You can't see the wind, but you can see the leaves on the trees moving. Don't mean it because you don't see the Most High that he ain't here. Just like you don't see the wind, but it's here. Read.
Turn you at my reproof.
Turn you at my reproof. Me trying to help you, like we read in Isaiah chapter 1 in verse 18, when he said, let's reason together. He said, turn ye at my reproof. Listen to my correction. That's what he's telling you. Read.
Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you.
I will pour out this is the spirit of the Lord getting poured out to you right now. When the words come off these pages out of the prophet's mouth that's going into your ears, is his spirit being poured out to you. Read.
I will make known my words unto you. Verse 24. Because I have called and ye refuse.
Because I've called and you refuse. You hear the word, but you refuse it. Read.
I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded.
You ain't want nothing to do with me. I'm letting you know what it is, but you don't want nothing to do with me. Read.
Verse 25. But ye have set a naught all my counselor.
So you set all my counsel for nothing. Now, one part I want you to remember about this, because we coming back to this verse. In verse 24, when it says, because I have called and ye refuse, I have stretched out my hands and no man regarded. Remember that, because we're going to touch on it later on in this class. Remember that. So go ahead, read verse 25 again.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 25. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof.
Right. You didn't want to accept none of the things that the Lord was saying through the scriptures that the prophets bring out. And then you didn't want to do nothing to change, to fix your ways. Read verse 26.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 26. I also will laugh at your calamity.
He said he's going to laugh at your calamity. So what that means is when you out there begging for your life, he going to laugh at you. He's going to laugh at you when you out there begging for your life. Because when you had the opportunity to fix it, you didn't want to do it. Now that you want to beg for your life, he's going to laugh at you. Read.
I will mock when your fear comes.
He said he's going to let you know. You remember when you told Brother Obadiah or Brother Juan or the other brothers and sisters out there that's been telling you about this truth, telling you to come to the Lord and keep the commandments? But you told him that man, I ain't listening to none of that. That's what it means when he gonna mock you. He gonna play it back and say, you remember you said this? You remember you said that? You remember you did this? You remember when we said add sin to sin because I didn't do nothing to you then, right then? You figured that you could just keep on doing what you want to do? Remember you did that? That's what it means when he says that he's going to laugh at your calamity and mock you. Read.
And when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer.
You heard what he said? He said, when all of this destruction come upon you, and now you want to call out to the Lord, because now you know it's real. Now you know it's real. Now you want to call out to the Lord. He said, when all of this is going down, and all of these things are happening to you, now you want to call me. Now you want to look for me. Now you want to seek my face. Go ahead, read that. And then, excuse me. Then he said that he is not going to answer you. He's not going to answer you. Read.
They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
So they ain't going to find him because they're going to be reaching out, especially when they start seeing stuff happening to other people. And it ain't get to them yet. Then it's starting to happen to them. And now you want to seek the Lord, but you ain't going to find him. Because when you had opportunity to get it right, you said to hell with the Most High. You're going to do what you want to do. Read.
Um,
28. Go to 29.
For that they hate knowledge.
Right?
And did not choose to fear of the Lord.
They didn't choose to fear the Lord, and fear the Lord by keeping the commandments. Read.
They would none of my counsel.
They didn't want to hear what the Lord had to say. They didn't want to hear what the prophets had to say. They wanted to keep on the shucking and jiving. You know, that's what makes this Christianity churches and so great. It's because you able to do whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever sin you into, you able to do that in there. Because ain't nobody going to judge you about what you doing. You got women that come in there and in the church with skin tight dresses on the whole nine. They coming in there to entice men. Some women I've seen with my own two eyes coming to church with skin tight dress or pants on or whatever the case may be, wearing no bra. You can see their nipples sticking through the shirt. But yet you jumping up and down in the church talking about you love the Lord and raising up your hand in the whole nine. Then you got these men in there, they in there trying to see what they can get for as a woman. And then they in there screaming about they love the Lord. And because he gives you a great prosperity speech to get you all motivated and not keeping no commandments. Not one of his sermons telling you to keep the commandments. Not one. But here in verse 30, read that again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 30. They would none of my counsel, they despise all my reproof. Verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way.
That means that they eat the fruit of your own way, meaning all the stuff that you love to do, all the stuff that you want to do, you're going to eat the fruit of that thing. You're going to do that. You're going to have fun in doing it too. Read.
And be filled with their own devices.
Right, because that's what you believe. Read.
For the turning away of the simple shall slay them.
Right, read.
And the prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
Yeah, so for you thinking that way, is you destroying yourself. Read.
But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely.
So what he say?
But whoso hearkeneth unto me.
So he's saying whoever listens to me. Read.
Shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil.
So whoever listens to the Lord, with all the destruction going on around us, and you watching the people gnashing the teeth in the whole nine, to you it's going to be quiet. Those that's keeping the commandments, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be as if it's happening, but it ain't happening. You are not going to feel what they feeling. Your physical body may be gone, but your soul is going to be quenched, and it's going to be saved, going to dwell safely. That's what it's saying. To prove that, let's go to Matthew chapter 10. Go to Matthew chapter 10. I want you to read I believe it's verse 28. Matthew chapter 10 and read verse 28.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
So the Lord said, don't fear the one that can kill a body. You know, the one that can shoot you in your head and kill you, or shoot you in your chest, or whatever the case may be, hit you with a car, whatever, stab you, put you to death. Don't fear that person. Read.
But are not able to kill the soul.
Right.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
You see what he's saying? Don't fear the one that can just put to death your body, that fleshy body that you in right now. This right here. Don't fear that. Fear the one that can kill your body and your soul. Ain't but one can do that, and that's the Most High. Not your Seti, not your Ra, not your Allah, none of that. None of that. The Most High power is the only one that can do that. The only one. So with that, come out of Proverbs and let's go to Sirach. Let's go back to the book of Sirach. And I told y'all, remember that verse 24 that we read in Proverbs. That is an important verse, because when I go through this one particular part of this class, it's going to make sense to you about what verse 24 is speaking on. So let's go to Sirach chapter 2. And I want you to read verse 7. Start at verse 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 7. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy.
Stop right there. So when it says, ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, that takes obedience to do that. Okay? That takes obedience to do that. Read.
And go not aside.
That means that you don't change. You continuously stay by the Lord's side, regardless of things working out for you or not working out for you. You stay by the Most High side. Read.
Lest ye fall.
Because if you don't, you're going to fall. That's what it's saying. Read.
Verse 8. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him. And your reward shall not fail.
So you that fear the Lord, meaning that you keep the commandments and you be patient and you wait, right? He said, believe in him, your reward should not fail, meaning you're going to get the reward. But read.
Verse 9. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy.
That's right. Read.
Verse 10. Look at the generations of old.
So he's saying, look back at the ones that was before you and what they did and what I did to them. Read.
And see, did ever any trust in the Lord?
Did anyone trust in the Lord? Yeah, a lot of the prophets trusted. A lot of the people trusted in the Lord. Remember, we was doing great for 80 years straight. Out of this whole existence of us on the earth, only for a collective 80 years, we did it right for the longest. Out of almost 4,000 years. Only 80 years? So that means for 80 years, we wasn't stiff-necked and hard-headed. And for 3,000 860 years, we was doing it wrong. We was just hard-headed doing what the hell we wanted to do. Read.
And was confounded. Or did any abide in his fear? And was forsaken?
Did anybody that abide, the meaning that you keep the Most High laws, have you ever been forsaken? Well, I can honestly tell you, he ain't never forsaken me. I keep the commandments of the Most High power. He ain't never forsaken me. It's been times when I say in my mind, man, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to take care of that, or whatever the case may be. And I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, somehow, some way, something happened. He makes something happen, and it just fixed the whole situation. He done it for me. He'll do it for you, commandment keepers. But don't think because you looking at people that's in the churches or looking at people that out here doing wicked as hell, and they got this, that, the third, they coming to you telling you about how they testimony or whatever, and then they got the nerve to say God is good. Or God helped them get this. The Most High help you get nothing, because the Most High don't help no sinners. He don't help no sinners. You know who helps sinners? Satan. Satan got power too. Read.
Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering, and very pitiful.
Meaning that he feels sorry for your behind. It don't mean the Most High pitiful. Mean that he feels sorry for your behind. Read.
And forgiveth sins.
And
saveth in time of affliction. Verse 12. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways.
So he said, woe be to, that means death, destruction, be to the fearful hearts, the ones that's scared, that don't want to do what the Lord say, or the ones that don't want to, be part of their crowd and do what the crowd say. All right, that's what it's saying. Woe to them. And then, and faint at hands, meaning that you don't do no works. You don't do nothing to honor the Most High. Right? And then it says, and a sinner that goeth two ways. Meaning that one way, you in his truth, you say you in the truth, but yet you doing a bunch of sinful things. Then you got the people that's definitely sinning, and they keep on doing it. Then you got the ones that's in the church say they love the Lord, all hooping and hollering on Sunday, talking about they love the Lord and the whole nine, and then they run into somebody else's house or gossiping or fussing or fighting or bringing up some drama or whatever the case may be Sunday night or Monday morning or Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is. That's a bunch of nonsense. But the Most High said, woe unto you that do that. You claim that you here for the Most High. You claim that you keep the commandments. That's what you're saying. But ain't nothing but wickedness in you. All you do, you take mountains and turn them into, take molehills and turn them into mountains. Instead of addressing the issue and keep the commandments and stay out of the world and doing worldly things. Read.
Verse 13 of the book of Sirach.
I read. Got a little difficulties over here. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. Meaning that those people that don't believe in the Most High power, that's the people that are faint-heartless. Okay? And he said, and the scary people, that's basically what he's telling you. You the scary ones. And you don't believe not in the Most High and what he's going to do when he's coming. Right? For right there when he's saying, therefore shall he be not be defended. Meaning the Most High ain't fighting for you. He ain't fighting for you. Read verse 14.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you?
So those people out there that say I'm giving up, or this thing ain't working out for me, or whatever the case may be, or I'm lost my way, or I'm gonna go back into the world. That's what it's talking about. Woe unto you, death, destruction unto you that do that. That can't wait for the Most High. That can't be patient and be obedient. You let the world control everything that you do. Woe unto you. Read.
Verse 15. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways.
Say that again.
They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word.
So they that fear the Lord won't disobey his word. So if you eating foods that the Lord say don't eat, then you don't fear him. If you not keeping the commandments like the Lord said do, then you don't fear him. You don't fear him. So he says right here, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. Will not. That never changed. Read.
They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law.
Read verse 16 again.
They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law.
They that love him shall be filled with the law. Did we not read that in the New Testament?
Yes, we did.
It was in the New Testament that we read that. And here we are in the Old Testament and reading the same thing. The Lord never changed. So go ahead, read verse 17. We can shut it down right there.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight.
That's right. They would do it in his sight. In his sight. Okay. With that, let's go to Job chapter 32. Job chapter 32 and read verse 9.
The book of Job, chapter 32, verse 9. Great men are not always wise.
Say that again.
Great men are not always wise.
That means because you got people out here that may be older or whatever the case may be, they supposed to be elders to us, but the scripture is saying that they're not always wise. They're not always doing what they should be doing. Read.
Neither do the aged understand judgment.
Neither do the who?
The aged understand judgment.
Because you got some years on you and you think you got some experience, but you don't understand judgment. How you don't understand judgment is because you don't keep the commandments. How you don't understand judgment is because you don't fear the Lord. If you fear the Lord, you will keep the commandments. Then you understand what the judgment is. So come out of that and go to Isaiah chapter 6. Go to Isaiah chapter 6. I want you to start reading at verse 8.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 8. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I.
This is the motto of this school. Read.
Here am I, send me.
Now read that again, brother. Read verse 8 again.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 8. Also I heard the voice of the Lord, saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us?
That's the question he asked. Read.
Then said I.
This is Isaiah answering.
Here am I, send me.
He said, here I am. Right? That's what he's saying. Send me, Lord. Now listen what he say to the people. Read.
And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not.
So stop right there. So when the Lord say here in verse 9, go tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. Some of you might be confused what that means. I'm going to tell you exactly what it means. It means the prophet out here teaching you what the word of the Lord say. And you got your family members, you got whoever your family members are, whoever your friends are, or whatever the case may be. They don't want to hear nothing that you're saying, or they don't want to believe nothing that you're saying. They hear the words coming out of your mouth, but they don't want to believe anything that you're saying, or they just don't understand what you're saying. That ain't from you not being able to explain it right. That's from them. The Most High don't want them to know. Why you think the Most High don't want them to know? Just take a wild guess of why you think the Most High don't want them to understand. Because he know ain't no good in them. Ain't no righteous in them. They full and laden with sin. Ain't nothing you can do that's going to fix them. That's going to change their mindset. Nothing. Read.
And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not.
So he said, and you see me. You see the prophet teaching you. Plain and simple indeed. But yet you cannot register it in your mind with the Lord because it ain't for you. Christ said that he chooses you. You didn't choose him. But he also said those that he had chosen shall not be plucked out of his hand. So how you think the Most High make an assumption and he not be all-knowing? And the Most High say that 2/3 of Israel are going to be put to death. And 1/3 is going to make it through. That's separate from the 144,000. So if he's saying 1/3 is going to make it, that means that this 1/3 that he's speaking about, he know who they are. And the 2/3 that he's speaking about, the ones that may be our own family members, our own friends, that won't get this word and won't understand it or don't want to understand it, are the 2/3. Ain't nothing you can do to change their minds. Ain't nothing that you can do. If they ain't willing to do it, then it won't be done. See, you got to understand yourself when you came into this truth. If you came into the truth because of a man or a woman that you love, or so-called call yourself loving, and that's why you came into the truth, guess what? You're going to fail in this truth. Because you ain't doing it for the Most High. You doing it for the man. Or you doing it for the woman. So when the man or the woman don't work out, now the truth don't work out either. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. So now, when it says in verse 9, at the bottom part of this precept, when it says, "But and see ye indeed, but perceive not," meaning that you see what he's saying, but you still can't comprehend it at all. Read verse 10.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 10. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy. So
when he said make the heart of the people fat, their mind fat, their ears fat, that heavy, meaning that you laying a lot of truth on them. Read.
And shut their eyes, lest they see.
So he said, and shut their eyes. The next part of this says, lest who see?
They see with their
Unless
eyes.
they see. The only thing that can change them is them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't do it. The only thing that can change these people is themselves. Ain't nothing no brother or sister out here gonna be able to teach them that's gonna fix that. Ain't nothing you saying to them is going to be able to fix that. Ain't no prayer and all the prayers in the world that you praying for somebody is not going to change that. The Lord said their eyes going to be shut, their ears going to be heavy, and their minds going to be full. But he said less. That means unless they see with their eyes. Read.
And hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed.
That's what it means. Until that happens, you better leave them alone. I don't care if it's your mama, if it's your daddy, if it's your husband, if it's your wife, if it's your children. I don't give a doggone who it is. If you don't do that, you are going to have a serious problem. Because you're going to find yourself being dragged straight into the gates of that everlasting burning fire. Right along with them. And the point is, they're going to fully understand what they're going through. But you're going to be singing that song like that girl was singing, talking about, I'm not supposed to be here. You understand what I'm talking about? You're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there because you didn't want to listen to what the Lord said. You wanted to follow your own mind, thought you were going to save your children, thought you were going to save your mama and your daddy, your friends. No, sir. You're going to be put to death right with them. So with that, come out of that, let's go to Romans. Watch Paul try to say the same thing. Romans chapter 7. And I want you to read, start at verse 19.
The book of Romans chapter 7 verse 19. For the good that I would, I do not.
So stop right there. So when he's saying right here, for the good that I would, meaning the good that you would do, you don't do it. That's what he's saying. Read.
But the evil which I would not, that I do.
So the evil that you shouldn't do, that's what you will do. Read.
Now, if I do that, I would not. It is no more I that do it.
Right.
But sin that dwelt in me.
So that means that the sin that dwells in you will make you do the things that you don't want to do, but you're doing them anyway. Being around people that sin, although you don't want to do it, you will do it because you're part of them while they doing it. That's what the scripture is saying to you. So because your children or your mom or your dad or whatever the case may be, feel some kind of way or tell you that you in a... I love this one when they tell you, you start keeping the commandments and doing what the Lord said, and they tell you you're in a cult. When they out there wicked as hell, and they say you're in a cult. Don't be offended because they say that. Then you say adios, amigos. That's what you say. But if you think that you're going to change them, you got another thought coming because you're going to be right with them in the lake of fire. Read.
The book of Romans chapter 7 verse 21. I find then a law.
I find then a law, read.
That when I would do good, evil is present with me.
So if he said that he find then a law. The law is what tells you what's good and what's not good. Okay? So he says when I would do good, evil is present with me. So all around me and everything that everybody else is doing is evil. Is against the laws. But yet I still do good. Read.
For I delight in the law of God after the inward.
For I what?
Delight in the law.
That means he enjoy it. He loves it. It makes them feel good to do the law. But whenever you feel like you got to choose between your children and doing the commandments of the Most High, or whenever you feel like you got to choose between your wife or your husband or doing the commandments of the Most High, or whenever you feel like you got to choose between your friends, your mom, and your dad, opposed to loving the Most High, and you don't delight in doing so, the Most High gonna lose. He gonna lose you, or you gonna lose him rather, because you're gonna follow behind your friends because of your friends or your children or your mom or your dad or your husband or your wife, because you love them. So go ahead, finish reading that.
The book of Romans chapter 7 verse 23. But I see another law.
No, finish verse 22.
For I delight in the law of God after the inward man. But I see another law in my members warring against the law of my mind.
So when it says I see another law in my members, meaning that could be, some people could be your mouth running off. Some people it could be your genitals, that you want to go do this and do that to this person or that person. That all of these things were causing you to sin. That's what it's saying right here. So let me finish reading that. When it says, but I see another law in my members. These laws, these things, when he means, they're not the laws of the Most High. They're the laws of you. They're making you do evil, making you do sin. That's what it's talking about. Like I said, it could be your genitals, could be your mouth, could be your whatever it is. It could be those things. Those are the things that's governing you. The evil that's governing you. Warring against the law of my mind. The law of your mind is to keep the Most High commandments. So now those two things are fighting one another. Then it says, and bringeth me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. Meaning that you're going to fail with keeping God's laws, and you're going to heal to the body and doing evil. That's what it's saying. It takes obedience and discipline. Nobody can teach you to have a strong heart. You women out there can't use the term, I'm the weaker vessel. Weaker vessel don't mean nothing about you. It's okay, you get a pass that not be strong in the Lord. No, sir, that's not what a weaker vessel means. When it says you the weaker vessel, you're not as strong as a man physically. You can't run as fast as a man physically. But your spiritual strength can be just as strong as a man, if not stronger. So stop running around here using that as an excuse to sin, or using it as an excuse to explain your sin. So now in the bottom part of the precept, when it says, warn against the law of my mind and bring me into captivity to the law of sin, meaning your members have won the battle and you stay in the midst of sin because that's what you love the most. In verse 24, drop that. We finished with that. And let's go to, no. Let me read verse 24. In verse 24 it says, O wretched man that I am, whom shall deliver me from the body of this death? The only one that's going to deliver you from that body of that death is yourself. You have to make up in your mind that you're going to choose the Most High, that you're going to choose Christ, and you're going to do the Most High commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what you got to make up in your mind, that you're going to do that. In verse 25, I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh the law of sin. That doesn't mean that you gonna go out here and sin because it said, but with the flesh the law of sin. The flesh is what makes you want to do wrong. The flesh is what makes you want to go out here and sleep with every woman on the planet and don't make that person your wife. Sin is what make you go out here and bust somebody upside their head or whatever the case may be because you angry about something. The flesh make you do those things. But the law of God makes you refer back to Leviticus 19:18. That's what it makes you do. So you won't cause no harm to your brother or your sister. Do you understand how these laws work? So with that, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 37. Go to the book of Psalms, chapter 37. I want to start at verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law.
Say that again.
Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law.
So he speak to them that know the law. Okay, ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed at all. What verse you in?
Book of Psalms 37, verse 1.
No, you still in Romans. You still in Romans.
Yeah, Romans. Shoot. Sorry about that.
I need Psalms 37.
All right, here we go. Sorry about that. The book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 1. Fret not thyself because of evildoers.
Don't fear that. Not thyself because of evildoers. Meaning people around you that's just doing wickedness. Read.
Neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity.
So he's saying don't be jealous because they got nice cars or because they got nice houses or got nice clothes or nice women by their side or nice looking men by their side or whatever. Don't envy that. The jewelry that they may have or whatever the case may be. It's saying don't envy that because all of that is from sin. Read.
Verse 2. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass.
They shall be what?
Cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb.
Read.
Trust in the Lord.
Do what?
Trust in the Lord.
Read.
And do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed.
Read.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
So if you delight yourself in the Lord, he's going to give you the desires of your heart. Read. Verse 5.
Cometh thy way unto the Lord.
So he said, commit thy way unto the Lord. Read.
Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
So if you commit your ways, meaning that you willing to give up that old life, shoot that old man in the head, and bring out the new life and keep the commandments of the Most High power, he is going to do what?
And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday.
Read.
Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass.
Because the man that bringeth wicked devices to pass, meaning the man or woman that got all these great things that's going for them, all this money they may have, all these cars and beautiful homes or whatever the case may be, they may have better than what you got. He's saying don't fret none of that. Don't fret none of that because that wickedness is going to die. It's going to go be put down. Read.
Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil.
in any wise to do evil. Read.
For evildoers shall be cut off.
What's going to happen to evildoers?
They shall be cut off.
Uh-huh.
But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth.
Those that do what?
Wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth.
That means the people that got faith in the Most High that He's coming back. Those that go keep the commandments of the Most High, knowing that the Lord is coming back, and you actually have the obedience, the patience, and the discipline to wait for the Lord. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna work out good. But read.
For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be.
Uh-huh. So he said in a little while, the wicked won't be. All that stuff that you was envying ain't gonna be here no more. But you ain't gonna be here either, because you did not wait on the Lord. Read.
Ye, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be.
Read.
But the meek shall inherit the earth.
The who?
The meek shall inherit the earth.
The who?
The meek shall inherit the earth.
Read.
And shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace.
That's right. Read.
The wicked plotteth against the just, and
The gnashing.
and gnasheth upon him with his teeth.
Uh-huh. That means those people that's out there that's so scared their teeth start shattering. That's what that means, the gnashing of teeth. You know, when people teeth start hitting together and you hear that noise like Scooby-Doo. Read.
The Lord shall laugh at him.
The Lord gonna do what?
The Lord shall laugh at him.
Didn't we read that already in Proverbs? Read.
For the seeth that his day is coming.
For to see it that day, that his day is coming. Jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous.
Read.
The Lord knoweth the days of the upright.
The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, meaning the Lord know the days of the people that's doing what they supposed to do in this lifetime. He knows those. But those that's out there that act like you doing what the Lord wants you to do, but you out there doing what you ain't supposed to be doing, He know that too. Read.
And their inheritance shall be forever.
Their inheritance shall be for how long?
Forever.
Say that again.
The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever.
Read.
They shall not be ashamed in the evil time,
Uh-huh.
and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied.
Read. Meaning when they come for the no food, no nothing, when the destruction come, they still gonna be fat. They still gonna be eating. They still gonna be great. They gonna be filled. Period. Read.
But the wicked shall perish.
The wicked gonna do what?
Perish.
Read.
And the enemies of the Lord shall be as fat of the lambs.
Uh-huh.
They shall consume. Into smoke shall they consume away.
Read.
The wicked borroweth, and payeth not again.
So the wicked borroweth and payeth not again. Meaning, you know how somebody borrow money from you and don't pay you back? That's what the Lord is saying. The wicked borrow, meaning that you borrowing this time. You want to do what you want to do. But you're going to get paid back. You're going to get paid back. You're going to get paid back with death. Read.
But the righteous showeth mercy and giveth.
Mm-hmm.
For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth.
Uh-huh.
And they that be cursed of him shall be cut off.
Shall be do what?
Shall be cut off.
All right, jump over to verse 26.
He is ever merciful,
Uh-huh.
and lendeth, and his seed is blessed.
So wait a minute. It says, He is ever merciful and lendeth, his seed is blessed. Who's the Lord's seed?
Jesus.
The Israelites. That's his seed, his firstborn, his fervent lover, the Israelites. Read.
Depart from evil.
Who's supposed to depart from the evil?
Israelite.
The Israelites. Read.
And do good, and dwell forevermore.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsake not his saints.
Forsake not his saints, that the Israelites. Read.
They are preserved forever.
They're preserved till tomorrow.
They are preserved forever.
They was preserved back during the time of Moses.
They are preserved forever.
They're preserved forever. Read.
But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off.
Of the wicked, meaning the same seed of the Israelites. Those ones that don't want to do good, they're gonna be what?
Cut off forever.
They're gonna be cut off. Read.
The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever.
No, they're gonna be there for a short time.
Dwell therein forever.
Forever. Read.
The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom.
Read.
And his tongue talketh of judgment.
Read.
And the law of his God is in thine heart.
And the law of what?
Of his God is in his heart.
Right.
None of his steps shall slide.
So you understand what that means, class? When it says the law of his God, the Most High God, which is our God, which he said in Joel chapter 2, verse 27, that he's our God and none else. That's why the scriptures say the law of his God is in his heart, meaning that he gonna do what the Lord say do, and none of his steps shall slide, meaning that nothing that we could do is going to cause us not to get the promises that the Most High said he's going to give us if you keep the commandments. And that's real simple. It's real simple. Keep the commandments and you'll live. You don't keep the commandments and you're going to die. That's real simple. I want to get this one verse for you before I end this class. There's one verse. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. And hopefully this class, really touch some people, share it, bring it out there for other people to see, and hopefully it be able to show you what you got to do. Because in these last days, I can't do nothing but teach you how to get the kingdom. I mean, it's a lot of things that I would love to teach you, but this is the pressing issue, the most important. I got to get it out to you so that you understand. The time is very near, very near. And if you don't do what the Lord say do, and you keep listening to what these people out here that's telling you the opposite about keeping the Most High commandments, let me put it to you this way. If I'm teaching you to keep the Lord's commandments, right, and I be wrong, will you be wrong by keeping the commandments? Because the law is not sin. Keeping the commandments is not sin. Or would you rather do that and figure out in the kingdom that you didn't have to do it than to don't do it and figure out you had to do it? So Deuteronomy chapter 30, I want you to read what I want. Read verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
Right. Read.
In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, and his statutes, and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither you goest to possess it. But if thine heart turn away, that thou wilt not hear,
Mm-hmm.
but shalt be drawn away, and worship other gods, and serve them. I denounce unto you this day,
Mm-hmm.
that ye shall surely perish,
That you should what?
shall surely perish,
Read.
and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land,
Right.
whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it.
Verse 19. Read.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against
To
you,
record.
to record this day against you.
So today, this class that I brought forth to you today, call upon the heavens and the earth to say that I did it. That I let you know what the Lord is saying. It's being recorded right now to this very day. Read.
That I have set before you life and death.
I set before you life and death. Read.
Blessing and cursing.
The blessings and the cursings. Read.
Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Therefore you choose life, so that you and your seed after you may live. And with that, class, I say shalom.
Shalom.